Let's Get Intimate, a show where you can learn from a local life coach. This show is broken down into 3 segments. First, Let's Get Intimate, where I discuss the intimate topic of this episode. Then, Self-Care Ain't Selfish, where I show the many ways that I self-care as well as other tips. And Ask Sunflower, where I answer any questions from followers all over social media. You can always tune in every other Friday at 8 p.m. So, being at the very first topic, I'm going to be a little extra and make it about me. But I definitely want to give you guys some background about who I am and how I became a life coach. So, my name is Sunflower Jones, and I'm a rebuilding coach. I help my clients shift their mindsets through learning emotional intelligence and goal setting to rebuild better versions of themselves. So, I became a life coach in 2020. I attended the Transformation Academy after receiving my degree in Human Services Mental Health. So what started to be my path to becoming aligned with my purpose as being a life coach and helping people, back in 2017, I became a mother. And as my relationship with womanhood began to shift, so did my relationship with my child's father. And I noticed we were having a hard time being and staying on the same page. And we found ourselves always fighting. And then the fights became more and more volatile. So I knew I did not want to continue the relationship like this, and I did want to experience a healthy love, but I noticed that what I wanted, I did not know what it looked like or even how to convey. So if you know anything about me, you know I am an avid researcher. I will look something up, figure something out on my own. And a book that I came across that was definitely the catalyst to change for me was All About Love by Bell Hooks. And upon expanding my knowledge, I realized that many people were trying to also find this healthy love that they themselves didn't genuinely know what it looked like. So while I was on this journey to figure out what healthy love looked like exactly to me and to see how I can bring it back to make it like a coupled visions with my child's father, a lot was just really going on to where we really couldn't get on the same page. The communication just wasn't there. And then unfortunately, in July of 2018, I would say that I experienced probably one of the worst days of my life because my daughter's father had died by suicide. And I had thought I failed at saving someone because I've always figured that my life's purpose was being good at helping people and saving people, you know? And I literally doubted every dream and goal I had of wanting to doubt people simply because I felt I couldn't help him. And then I really had to go back to the drawing board of what did I learn in school, because sometimes everyone can't be helped and it's not always per se a you problem. But I did find myself stewing in pity because at that point, though, in that time, I was a college dropout. I had to move back home with my mom, and I was a brand new mom. And so I found myself feeling like I was just stuck. I felt like my life was never going to change, and I felt like it was due to me allowing other people in my life. And so I felt so victimized and so just broken and hurt, and it was just a lot for me to bear. And then I became hurt, and then I became angry. And yet even that weight of emotion was too much. It was just too much. And I knew something had to change, and I had to become a better version of myself. And then after being stuck in grief for about, I want to say 5 months, I utilized what I call the 5 R's. Reflecting, releasing, rethinking, relearning, and rebuilding, right? So I used reflection to really sit down with myself to understand the role I played in my own life experiences, right? Was it the other person who did something to me, or did I allow things that crossed my boundaries, right? Then I also learned through emotional intelligence and art therapy how to release those past emotions while understanding my triggers, how to properly unpack how I felt and why I felt the way I felt, just so I could learn the language so that I can convey it to others. And so in that moment, that's when I started to rethink about how I showed up in the world, right? What did success look like to me? What did womanhood look like to me? What did even motherhood look like to me? And once I gained a solid vision of what I wanted to look like, I relearned how to commit to do the things with intention. So for how I feel about what womanhood looks like to me, I dictate what strength looks like to me, and I dictate how I go about being a wife or a mother. Not a wife, but you understand what I'm saying. Just different labels that fall onto people within society. I figured out what I wanted to look like for me, and that's how I was going to tackle it. And at that point, though, honestly, that started to lay the foundation to allow me to rebuild myself. So I was able to rebuild myself from the once wounded baby bird to like an eagle soaring. And I committed to a plan, and I set forth goals, and I took everything one day at a time. Because the cool part is when you truly treat it as one day at a time, that is a brand new 24 hours to tackle anything that may have been going on in your personal atmosphere and things like that. It allows you to truly take the time to sit back and take a deep breath and really see where you're going and to plan for better days. So in February of 2019, I went back to school, I finished earning my degree, and I felt empowered to complete something that I had put off for years. And I was able to do that while working full time and parenting my child, because by that point, I was able to understand like how to really discipline myself to tackle my goals, as well as how do I really know what parenting and what I want my child's childhood to look like, right? So in that point and moment, whilst building and growing into the woman that I am, I'm able to understand that I am still human. And I use that being simply human to connect while parenting with my child, right? And I think by far that's probably my favorite part, in all honesty. So ultimately, why did I want to become a life coach and why do I do what I do? Is I pour myself into being a rebuilding coach, and that is because I enjoy exposing people to healthy skills that will better their lives. From affirmations to healthy emotional intelligence to transforming relationships and goal-setting success. These are skills that I know help promote self-regulation, and a lot of us do lack that skill. Most of the times we end up in chaos because we don't know how to regulate ourselves. And so as a rebuilding coach, I show you those skills, which we all have them innately, but I show you how to awaken them or even reconnect to them so that you can make better choices while rebuilding yourself. So that when you set forth a boundary, you know why you have this boundary and you're not going back on why you can allow someone to even cross said boundary. And that is really ultimately why I do what I do, because it helps foster healthier communities, healthier relations, and relationships between people. And I thoroughly enjoy that the most. What I love about self-care is that it can be as selfish as you want it to be, because ultimately it's all about you, right? So when I was on my journey of rebuilding myself and becoming the woman that you see today, as well as the coach you see today, I knew I had to change how I thought and felt about myself. Many times I didn't have really positive self-talk. And so one thing that definitely helps with self-talk is affirmations, right? Because we all know a foot soak's good for your feet, a head massage is good for your head, you know what I mean? Body massage is good for your body, but we don't talk about how words are good for the soul and how they're good for the spirit. So one of the things I found was, once again, affirmations. And I realized that they played such an amazing part and role in me feeling like I can do anything, that I'm going to share with you a product of mine that I have. So I have a affirmation kit, and it's called the I Am. And with this kit, you are able to have a meditation to which you can say your own affirmations to, or there's a meditation where you can purchase affirmations already on the track, which is amazing. And when you purchase these kits, it comes with a 10 go-to affirmations that you can hang up, pin anywhere. They're very foundational, so they can help you start your day and build your own, as well as you get a workbook. Now, within this workbook, you are able to understand the history of affirmations, as well as rethinking, and there's a bunch of activities, and it just allows you to really sit back and take account into how you've spoken to yourself, as well as what you will allow yourself to say, like, moving forward. And I really hope that you guys will enjoy it, because one of my favorite go-to affirmations, which I pin every which way in my house, is my voice is needed at the table. So I will either pull up a chair or create a table of my own. And that affirmation means the world to me, because there are many times where I have felt maybe a little down, that I have something amazing to say, and maybe I wasn't asked to join something, or maybe I don't feel like people are hearing me. And that affirmation alone allows me to stand up a little bit taller and go, no, I have something to say, and I will be saying it. And if there is not a space for me currently to say it, I will curate the space for myself to say it. And I think if we hold on to affirmations in a manner like that, it allows us to push forward, as well as really changing how we talk to ourselves. So for me, at least, affirmations was my first step. I started on the inside, because if I don't feel like it mentally, physically, I'm not going to see myself getting up to do it. Question time. Okay, so I have some questions here. What does your self-care routine look like? Okay, so I interchange my self-care routine a bazillion and one times. As of right now, I've been very focused on my skin. Get into it, can you? Get into it. So when I'm really stressed, it comes up on my face, and I'm what you call a picker. So any kind of pimple, blemish, or anything, I go quick to dig it out. So one thing I did was, I have amazing friends who have amazing careers, and I called one of my friends, and I will tag her below so that you can go and follow her beauty consultation page. And I FaceTimed her, let her see my skin, and was like, hey, I'm looking for a new skincare routine, right? So I told her 2 products that I use, which are Black-owned, women-owned businesses. I use a toner and a serum from Omas Herbals. Don't worry, I'm going to tag them below as well. And I also use a facial bar, which is, I believe, a turmeric lemon cream bar, which is for my face. And turmeric gets rid of blemishes, and the lemon revitalizes, and it just makes my face feel amazing. And that's by She's So Clean. Do not worry, I'm going to tag her below as well. So between washing my face with her soap and then using Oma's Herbals, and then I use Your Good Skin, which was recommended by my beauty consultation friend. Between that, as well as having their night cream and using actual sunscreen, this is what's been going on my skin, okay? This is all slowly going away, but you can definitely get into it. Then, of course, I wear a little good gloss, a very good gloss. I like for my brown skin to just pop, honey. But that is my self-care routine as of right now for my skin. It's been very skincare oriented. Also, I have gotten back into fitness, and I needed something that was a combo. So that combination is Pilates, which has actually been doing my body amazing, and I enjoy every bit of it. All right, next question. What are your thoughts on grief? No, I'm playing. My thoughts on grief is, I take it one day at a time. I take it one day at a time, because ultimately I process things. I take my time unpacking and processing. I want to understand why I feel how I feel. So that's why I always recommend taking your time. You're going to go through the stages. You're going to be angry. You're going to be hurt. You're going to want to bargain. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with any of those things. But when you find yourself in those spaces, ask yourself why. What is it you're missing? And what is it you're possibly looking for while you're in the space, so that you can gain a bit of clarity? Because for me, when I lost my daughter's father, my grief showed up in a millions of ways, because one, there was a point in time when my daughter looked exactly like him. So it was just, oh God, it's so hard to look at her. Then I went through these stages of being angry, right? But then you have to understand that is no one's fault. No one chooses to die by suicide. So when you make those big steps of understanding and processing, you realize that this is just a situation, and that it affects you. It doesn't just affect only you. It affects other people that this person has encountered. So there are moments where you can call on those people for support who knows what you're going through. Or even if you are ready to not do that, journal out. Journal out why you feel the way you feel. What you're missing. What do you feel like you're losing out on? Write all of those things down, so that you can just give yourself a good solid direction of where your grief is going, because it is a journey and it's never ending. Grief doesn't just stop. It just transforms, Let's see. How to stay focused on goals. Okay. You're talking to somebody who used to be queen procrastinator. So when it comes to staying focused on goals, really sit down and go, what do I really want? Like, what exactly is the outcome? You have to visualize it. And then when you visualize it, sit down and break down each step it'll take for you to get there. Even if you're going to reach a fork in the road, I learned this because I'm a veteran, by the way. One of my commanding sergeants, he was just over me, right? So he was my sergeant. And what he did for me when it came to me trying to figure out what I wanted to do was he sat down with me and he really kind of made like this little bubble map. And at the time I was like, I don't need no damn bubble map. But what I learned with his method of the bubble map was it was really a set of arrows where it was like, is there things you can do about this? Yes or no? If there was nothing you could do about it, you work with the things that you could change. If there was things you could do about it, then you change them. So I would say to stay focused on a goal, really sit down and think about how you want to achieve the goal and then what it looks like in achievement, like wise to you. Like, how does it look? How will you know that you've achieved certain steps? Like, what does it look like for you, right? So I'll give you an example. When it came to me finishing up my degree, when I went back to school, I only had 5 classes left to graduate, right? So I had to figure out what it looked like to me because when I was coming back, I had to come back with a very low GPA, which put me on like academic probation. Not too many people can go back, fix that, and still kind of garner a better GPA by the time they're graduating. And I got lucky enough to somehow pull it off. But that was because I told myself I'm going to start slow. I did one class at a time. And when I did the one class at a time, what I did was I guaranteed. That way I was able to guarantee, like full-fledged guarantee, that I would graduate on time and then get the grades that I wanted. Because if I took one class at a time and was able to fully focus on just what was in front of me, I wouldn't be able to be distracted, right? So then the first class got the A. I was excited. Then my next class, I didn't get the grade that I was hoping for, but I definitely was lucky enough to get a grade that I deserved. So that definitely made me feel better. And then as time just went on, I was able to take more classes. I think toward the end, I took, 3 classes? By the time I finished, I did a slow one, then I did another one, and then I did a set of 3. And by then, I was feeling really good about myself, and I passed all of them, and I was able to get my degree, and I was so excited about that. So that is ultimately how I stayed focused on tackling a goal. I really just broke down getting to the goal in very small steps and accomplished them every day, these small steps, because when you're actively working, by the time you reach the end point of your goal, you don't even realize that you've done all this work because you've took it one step at a time. Wow, this might be my favorite question so far. What do you like about being a coach? So what I like the most about it is, like I said, it's showing people new skills, right? It's something amazing about showing people how to utilize what they have in themselves and around themselves to rebuild themselves, right? So a few months ago, I was doing workshops for affirmations. I used to do an affirmation workshop. And when people would come, I would actually get elated, whether it was one person, 15 people, 20 people. I greatly enjoyed it because at the very end of it, I would always find myself going over that hour time that I've allotted because at least 1 or 2 people at the end definitely felt like sharing, like, hey, I've been going through things, and being able to attend this workshop has definitely allowed me to look at the silver lining in life, right? To learn the affirmations on what I can do and how to change my self-talk. And seeing that has definitely made me excited. Also, in the beginning of my coaching, I used to do free consultations. So that little tidbit, that's how people would start coming back to me, because they would take the little tidbit that I would give them and they would apply it, and then it'd be like, hey, it worked. Because of course it works when they come back to let you know it works, because they want to tell everyone about it. And that's when I know what I'm doing is amazing as a coach. And that's ultimately why I enjoy it. But I think also my favorite part about coaching is me creating products, right? So maybe I can't reach everyone, but I can create a product that you can use over and over again.